amazing to chat today with Bill Pryor from Shipstation, Vice President of Channel. So, Bill, let's start there. What's your role at Shipstation all about?
Well, great. Well, I appreciate it, Sean. Appreciate you guys taking the time today. So yeah, my name's Bill Pryor. I'm VP at Auctane. I run Channel, which is super simple for us. We divide the e-commerce space into two different sections. You either put a label on a box or you don't put a label on a box. If you don't put a label on a box, you fall into Channel. You fall into my realm. If you put a label on a box and you're a merchant, that's really the lifeblood, right? The people who put labels on boxes, hopefully the majority of the audience today. But all the partners that enable that and work cooperatively with us to bring that complete e-commerce solution to the merchant, that's Channel. That's me.
Very cool. Very cool. You know, and we have a lot of our audience is a small business or a solo entrepreneur, and they may be optimizing their product. They may be optimizing their e-commerce store, but when it's time for them to face logistics and shipping, it's kind of a whole new world for a lot of people. And so what do you think, what are some challenges that you think people can come across in a typical situation that regarding shipping or logistics when they're starting to take that on?
Well, Sean, that's a great question. So for those that don't know, Auctane is a suite of brands, the largest of which is Shipstation. And, you know, our Shipstation solution is one that optimizes e-commerce for e-commerce shippers. And what it does is leverage, we've got, I think at last count, nearly 100 marketplace and shopping cart integrations and dozens of carrier integrations. And utilizing inventory management and the ability to interface and bring competitive rates to shippers, we help these small shippers, these medium shippers, and even some up to 1 million shippers a month deliver phenomenal experience to the consumer for fulfillment. Most people think of e-commerce itself as the front end of e-commerce, what we call inspiration to order. So that's I think I want a new television, or man, I really love that pair of shoes I saw the influencer wearing. And then they go online and they find it and they do their shopping and they press that order button. And most people believe that's what e-commerce is. But the truth is that's only half of the solution. That's inspiration to order. But there's a secondary portion of that experience, order to delight. And that's everything that happens from the moment you press that button. That's what we do. We give that fulfillment experience that when you press the button, you know it's going to show up at your door in a prompt manner, reliably, and at a low price. And that's what we do. The challenges that somebody that doesn't have a solution like Shipstation, starting from scratch, a lot of it is manual. So first off, you're going to have to go through all your, once you get all those orders from multiple different order sources, you got to log into most of them. You've got to use different carrier relationships in each one. It's complex. You've got to manually type in tracking numbers. If you communicate at all to the shipper that information, it is challenging at best. And that manual process is what they have to overcome. And then the mistakes that come about when you do everything manually. So it takes more people. You misclick one number in a tracking number. Then you've got some fulfillment challenges and customer sat experiences that you've got to deal with. All of that are things that shippers without an automated solution have to deal with. And then over top of that, being able to deliver just everything going well for the consumer is a challenge, right? Being able to say, hey, your order is complete. We're picking and packing, right? Oh, your order has been packed. It's been out for pickup. It's been picked up by your carrier, and here's your tracking number. Oh, by the way, there's been a delay. All that stuff you have to do manually. And so that's a challenge. And then the last piece is, most of these shippers, they don't do enough volume to qualify for any sort of rate discounts with carriers. So their shipping costs are way high.
Yeah.
So those are some of the challenges that the smaller shippers are going to deal with without some sort of optimized solution.
And it's interesting to sort of bring up the front end side versus this side, that I think there's a lot of intuition that people can lean on when it comes to finding a product. Of course, there's product research tools. Of course, there's brand research tools. But I think a lot of people that are just getting going are saying, I've got an idea, or I like this product, or I have friends that like this product. And I think I can come up with a logo. I can jump into, Canva, and I can come up with a website. I can do all these things. There's intuition that you can rely on there. But when it comes to a more technical thing that you've no reason to have understood ever before, you really need that partner in the tool in Shipstation to come through and say,
Absolutely.
look, we've got it. We are the experts here. We'll kind of be your partner as you take this side of it on.
Absolutely. And with our suite of partnerships, like with Lucky Orange, we have tools within our portfolio. Even if we don't deliver it, we have access to tools that can help you with every piece of the process.
And, technology continues to disrupt all kinds of industries. What do you think technology has done in the recent history to change the game when it comes to logistics and shipping?
Wow. So it's really one thing. Amazon's changed the game.
Mm-hmm.
No question about it. The technology that has changed e-commerce has been driven by Amazon fulfillment. And when we talk about, again, I'll come back to the inspiration to order and order to delight portions of the e-commerce process. Amazon isn't anything different than anybody else on that front end of that process. We've been shopping like that forever. What they perfected is order to delight. From the moment you press that button to the moment the package shows up on the door, they have gotten to the point where they are so good, you don't even question it. I would be surprised if anyone listening to this audience, or anyone in this audience, anyone listening, hasn't placed an order on Amazon in the last 30 days.
Right. Truly. Yeah.
It is ubiquitous with e-commerce. That's the technology that has changed the game. It's the ability to drive fulfillment and deliver an experience that every consumer has today, that when I press this button, it's going to show up for almost no money, right? Amazon Prime's got to the point where it's built into pricing, so they don't even see a cost for it. It's competitively priced, and it shows up in 2 days. That's
yeah,
game changer.
And that's shifted, obviously, consumer expectations then. You're shopping online and you're saying, why would I wait a week for anything? Maybe furniture aside. And that's, a 6-month wait for a couch. But aside from that, consumer expectations have shifted so much. And how do you see that reflected on your guys' side with the solutions that you're trying to provide and this shift in expectation from the consumer?
Yeah, so that's great. So this is one of the beautiful things about our technology is what we're driven to do is give that Amazon-like experience to our shippers, no matter where they're handling their e-commerce transaction, whether they're doing it on their own site, whether that's powered by one of the shopping cart vendors in the space. There's a myriad. We partner with every major shopping cart, whether it's off of the major marketplaces, whether that's Amazon, Etsy, eBay, Walmart.com, doesn't make a difference. We deliver the inventory management and carrier solutions in cart that allow you to have that inexpensive shipping solution delivered into cart, consisting of rates, and the pick and pack convenience of having everything in a single interface to be able to one click, print a label, complete pick and pack, drop a label on a box and get that order out the door, and give that inexpensive, reliable delivery experience no matter where you're selling. It doesn't have to be on Amazon. And that's the thing that I think is the most important thing for shippers, is because the market right now believes that when they press an order button, it's going to show up in 2 days every single time. If you have somebody that has a poor experience, our internal surveys have shown 87% of consumers will not return back to that store.
Right. I mean, competition is crazy online, and it's almost, you have to you have your competitors. If Amazon is one of your competitors, which it is for most, you've got to live up to at least that part of the experience. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they've set the bar, and you have to match the bar. And if you don't match the bar, then you've got to come up with some other differentiator. Maybe you have a product that doesn't exist on Amazon, or a price that is more competitive than Amazon. And so it's challenging. The easier solution is just to find a fulfillment solution provider that's going to allow you to deliver that type of experience.
Right, right. You know, and we've obviously seen a lot of major world events in the past few years, and some have passed, some continue, and obviously logistics have been impacted over the past 3 years or so. But looking forward, and hopefully most of this is in a positive light, but looking forward, what sort of changes and maybe even challenges are you guys looking out for? And that if I'm a business owner trying to expand online, that I might want to keep an eye out for as well.
Well, you're right. COVID changed the game, right? We moved to an e-commerce marketplace almost overnight. That peak in 2020 and 2021, we've come down off of that. And so people are moving and getting out a little bit more. But the baseline is certainly elevated. So we are in an e-commerce world. So if you are not an e-commerce driven solution, at this point, then you're probably struggling. So let's just make the assumption that the majority of the people listening today have moved to the e-commerce space. The next challenge we're going to have is going to be economic. Yeah. So, we're going to see in all likelihood a fairly significant economic challenge over the next 2 years that's going to make consumers a little bit more conscious of every dollar they spend. So on the fulfillment side, that means you need to save every dollar you can. You need to find a way to fulfill with as few individuals as you can, limit the resources and the impact internally so you can keep your costs competitive. Then you need to find competitive carrier solutions. You need to offer multiple options to people shipping. So that could be a variety of carrier solutions depending on where you're selling to. You're going to be very competitive in the places where you're selling your products as well, and be conscious of margin that you're giving up when you're listing on specific marketplaces. And so all of those things are factors that our e-commerce partners and merchants are going to need to be facing over the coming years. It's almost entirely economic driven.
Right, right. And I know that you've mentioned, scale, how that impacts pricing and selling in bulk and things like that. Is that the primary driver for any sort of wiggle room and negotiation when it comes to shipping and sort of getting the best prices? Or is there any other levers that a business owner could pull to kind of be able to turn a savings in shipping around to those customers that are more price conscious?
Most of it's going to be volume and commitment driven to carriers. So most of the price you're going to be able to get direct with a carrier is going to require you to commit to a specific volume, a specific type of pickup requirements or drop-off requirements if you're dropping at a location. It's going to require you to very much standardize and drive volume to a very specific, repeatable process.
Got it.
Whereas if you go with a partner, we are, this is ubiquitous across the carriers, but I'll use USPS numbers to illustrate. If you look at the brands that we have, 30% of e-commerce in 21 went through one of our platforms.
Wow.
So 3 out of 10 packages went through an Auctane platform. And so as a result, we have very competitive pricing available to us, and pricing that we can pass off to our merchants, and our merchants can then pass to the consumers. And so that is certainly one of the ways that people can circumvent all the requirements necessary on the carrier side to be able to deliver that experience, that level of cost consciousness.
Yeah. And we have a good group of customers that are seeing some success domestically, and maybe they're serving somewhat of an international audience, but are certainly looking to expand to a more global platform. Are there specific challenges you see that people take on when they do try to expand into other countries? And maybe even specific regions, but just in general, taking something global?
Yeah. So international is crazy. So, for all the shippers out there, what I would like to do is think about what you do when you order something from overseas.
Hmm.
What goes through your mind when you find that product that's only available from, a country in Europe? Well, the first thing you do is, do I trust this merchant? Right? Is this legit or is this a scam? Because I don't have
Hmm.
the same visibility outside of the country that I have within the domestic universe of merchants. So that's the first thing that I go through. The second thing is, how much more is this going to cost me just for the product itself, right? Exchange rates, all those types of questions. Then the third question is, if I do place the order, how long is it going to take to get me, and how much am I going to have to charge, pay for it? Those
Yeah.
are all things as a consumer looking to purchase from an international provider that go through my mind. So now, as a merchant domestically, if I start selling internationally, those are all the things I need to make sure that I account for. And so I need to make sure that I offer visibility to the process, communication. Here's what the process is going to look like. When you place the order, you're going to get a tracking number. We're going to use the following carrier solutions. You should expect your product to be delivered within this time frame, and we will communicate with you the entire time. And then you have to have all the processes in place to recognize what could go wrong. So, that's customs delays.
Mhm.
Something could be held up and for extended period of times. If you get your customs and duty paperwork incorrectly, you could be charged back, or even worse, your customer could receive an additional duty that they were unexpecting, which would obviously destroy your experience, and from a review perspective, jeopardize any sort of future transactions. Those are all things that you have to take into consideration. So the best way is to find a partner that can help you deliver and communicate delivery for the international experience.
Certainly. And in a world where you can get things quickly, but if you order internationally, things do potentially have a slower or longer timeline. I might even argue that I would prefer to know exactly where my product is over having something faster. And I think that communication part is just such a huge deal for businesses to be able to automate that tracking.
Yep. Visibility into the process. I want to know what's going to happen before I press the order button. And then once I press the order button, I want to know exactly that it's happening the way I was told. And then once I receive it, I need to have a returns process that is as simple and easy to use, and I need to communicate that as a merchant to the seller, that there is a return process. If you do receive this, there is a way for you to correct a mistake. Because that's, again, one of those things when you're purchasing internationally, you just make the assumption, if I get this product, I'm stuck with it, whether it's exactly what I ordered or
Hmm.
not. I
Yeah,
order something
yeah.
that's the wrong size, that's a challenge. So
And we
those
see
are
that
all,
all the time. Go ahead.
no, my apologies, I spoke over you.
Oh, I was gonna say we see it all the time with people studying session recordings where people go to a checkout process and they'll hop back and forth between their shopping cart and a shipping page, or their shopping cart and some sort of returns information. And whether you should slap that on the checkout page or not is up to the individual business to test into. But the priority is there, and it's very obvious for people that they want to know that stuff. And it's not just the product, and it's not just the price, and it's not just the headline of 2-day free shipping. It's the other stuff that provides them security, and that may even be more important when you're not an Amazon, as you alluded to earlier. It's like, do I trust this brand?
It most certainly is more important to be able
Mhm.
to communicate that, because Amazon's built up the trust because they've done it for such a long time. And we now believe, occasionally things show up late for Amazon. You still don't worry about it. They probably don't even get customer sats if it goes from 2 to 3 days.
Right.
Most people don't even notice because they believe it. But if you're not Amazon and you haven't built up that trust with the consumer, you have to over communicate.
Yeah. Yeah. You've done a great job of saying, in so many words, we've got this. If you need a partner for shipping, you need a partner for logistics, we've got it. We're helping you. I do think that there's a lot of people that sit on an idea, sit on hopes and dreams of getting into e-commerce, or they're kind of stuck in a rut where do you think those people can go? What sort of advice would you give somebody to say, look, it might be intimidating, and I'm glad you're taking it seriously, but it's going to be okay, and here's why.
Well, what I would say is don't try and do it yourself, right? These
Mhm.
problems have already been solved. Don't go it alone, right? I would say whether or not you choose Shipstation, we believe it's the best of breed solution within the space. Find an e-commerce solution that's going to help you overcome some of these challenges with automation, with communication, and setting up that process. And any one of these is going to allow you to lower the resources that you have to commit within your organization to deliver it. So, in a nutshell, I'd say get Shipstation.
Yeah. Hey, look, that's okay. We'll continue to shout that from the mountaintops as well. We believe it's a big deal, and an important thing to get it right. And you guys are doing it right. So it's amazing to be able to hop on and chat with you. I appreciate you jumping on with me today.
And Sean, I appreciate you taking the time, especially the day before Thanksgiving. So,
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll definitely work a full day today for sure. So we'll talk to you soon.
thanks, Sean. I appreciate you, man.